some do this, some don't. The Canadian you saw is very didactic code of ethics, in which they are telling us how to assess. For instance, there are several ways of methods, theories, or frameworks, ethical frameworks, as they explain. So you can do it in various ways. I think that we can distinguish between a code and a guide, for instance. A code may be more restricted, so without countries, but the guide can include countries and be used by people who want to learn a little bit, who are involved in there for the first time.
I've seen that some of the associations have 3 or 4 documents that evolve around how should we behave when we conduct evaluations. And some of them are codes of ethics, some of them are examples of, let's say, sensible situations and what can you do in those situations. And some of them had trainings on that with their members. So maybe
these are groups.
The research ethics. So a kind of filter for all the programs sent to be approved for financing, for being financed.
But anyway.
And we adopted this strategy. So to make regulation and to make a guide for the assessor. So the guide explains which are the steps and give forms and things like that.
Anyway, we can, whatever shape this document will have, we can leave it open for revision as everybody does.
Sure.
Whenever needed, it can be revised. We can meet and discuss and revise it. It's not a law. We don't have to.
We cannot revise.
I would like to ask a question. If you are, for instance, an evaluator, a practical approach, because you are now tending to be more academic. You are in an evaluation and you are a member of an association that does have an ethical code. Let's presume that it does exist. So you are selected, you enter into a contractual basis with the company that won the bidding process, and suddenly this company is offering you a bunch of documents that most of them, articles, contradict your ethical code. What are you doing there? You are not going to work because the ethical code does not permit you to do that, or you just say, okay, I cannot change your rules. Usually multinational companies never change their rules. It's just an approach. We are in a market economy. If we are freelancers, we have to accept that somebody is paying us. Otherwise, maybe only husbands. But when you work, how we should, let's say, treat this situation? It's a practical issue. We have principles, we have association, we have good will, good name, and suddenly you are in such a situation that the documents that you are signing, some of them contradict to the code of ethics that you have in your association. What do you do?
I think it comes to the personal issue.
But it is an issue.
It is an issue. Okay, I can say that I don't do it. So I say I don't do it. It contradicts my code, so I don't do it. I can. I have a salary, a fixed salary for my college, and I can say it. Maybe you can't because you are freelancer and you have a bigger problem. You know.
Most all of the Romanian evaluators, with the exception of those in the academy, are freelancers, are independent. It was their, let's say, possibility, their niche to stay as a good professionals, not to be civil servant or whatever in whatever company. So this was a solution to find a niche in which, and I think almost all of them are like this. I don't know people that are, they are also expensive. Evaluators are not so cheap. So you cannot keep it just because you from time to time get a contract. So it is this possibility. And the people do have their, let's say, own standards first of all. But if you are an association and this contradicts, you cannot say, okay, what shall, 1,000 euro for a day, it's not on my principle, I cannot work with you. It's not the case. It's a practical approach that it's more interesting because Professor Moreshan said one thing very important for a code of conduct or a guideline or a code of ethics. It should be flexible because we have a tendency in Romania to make very rigid rules, very rigid, and a lot of structures that are all the time competing who's best in auditing or controlling, you know. They have such a situation. But I was raising a question which is a practical one, and I don't know if the answer is okay, I can stay home.
May I suggest something, a distinction between, well, first of all, the necessity to take into account a new kind of evaluators and of evaluated professions, the moral evaluators. I don't know. I do not know if in Romania there is such a group of people or the intention to constitute such a group of moral evaluators. Not of quality evaluator, not of I don't know what. But evaluate, for example, a law before being adopted by the parliament, a law with a moral content should be evaluated morally. In the discussions in parliamentary commission, this moral aspect is very, very superficial. 2 words about God, and we discuss some other things. Well, the question is if we cannot have a community of ethical or moral evaluators, and what's that? There are difficulties here. The first one is of moral evaluation from what point of view? From the Christian point of view, from the Muslim point of view, from the Kantian point of view, from the principlist point of view, from the feminist point of view, and so on. Mm-hmm. Or how these are not reducible to one. How could you put them together and obtain? And this is one thing. So the work of this commission is to, or of this group, it is to assess a situation, a law, a policy, and so on, from a moral point of view. But we are discussing here some other thing, not the standards of such a group of evaluators, but the moral life of the evaluators' commissions, community of evaluators. So we are speaking about the rules of functioning the community of evaluators, and not the standards of their work.
No.
So these are two perspectives.
Of course not. We're not trying to establish, for instance, what ethical principles should we use to judge policies, for instance. Not that.
This is another question.
Yes, it's another, but we are only making the first step now. Yes.
So I think we will not know what to write and how to write this document if we don't know why we draft it and for whom we draft it.
Yes,
so these are very basic questions, I know, but when I'm stuck at a certain point, I'm just going back to the origin and say, okay, why am I doing this, or why do I have to do this practically? So regarding regarding why, I mean, and I think that this initiative is definitely very good. What we are it seems to me, also knowing the history in 2006, 2007, that we are trying to correct a poor start. So the way things started in 2006, 2007 was maybe not the right way to start. It was indeed external pressure. It was a far problem. It was the entire idea of building the evaluation community, this means supply and demand side, came somewhere from the top, yeah?
Because
And,
it was
and, it
from
was,
the
and
top.
at a certain, okay, let's make, we make this association and they will also need a code of ethics. It was just a simple thinking. But now we are simple thinking. It was okay, and now we are a little bit in a different situation in which we have this initiative is more bottom up. It's okay. At least I like to believe, and I'm thinking that this is more of a bottom up evaluation. Okay, the evaluation community has developed in the last seven to 8 years, and now maybe we feel the need that we need this code or this guide, etc. It's a different direction, and maybe if you want, we start from zero. So we set aside that unfortunate initiative or whatever you consider it in 2006, 7, 8, and just we start from zero. If we start from zero, we need to know why we do it, and I a little bit covered this. At least I gave you my perspective on why we are doing it and for whom we are doing it. And here we enter the discussion of where is the evaluation community and how fragmented. And is this the evaluation community in Romania?
In one single meeting,
So
never.
when you said the word group, indeed, I mean, we need a group. We need to know for whom we are writing it and dividing it, or maybe making separate documents for different types of, like, under groups in this big group of, or like, I don't know, the evaluation community is an idea. For whom are we actually putting together this set of rules, principles, or guides, or this document?
I felt that we need.
Because, and one little thing, I'm a practitioner, and I was just after trying to put a little bit my thoughts in order so that I can tell you something useful. I was just okay, so I'm a practitioner, and as Tanya was saying, you know, I'm working in evaluation. Firstly, what's the added value for me of this code? For me, and what am I doing actually with this code while I'm doing evaluation? And if it doesn't have added value also for me as a practitioner in the evaluation community, it will be it will be a document without a value, I suppose.
Yes.
So that's why we are doing it, for whom we are doing it, and I think when we have the answers to these questions, we will also know what and how we will have to write it.
We have the same questions, that's why we went. As you see, I have one slide that says that we should discuss who are the subjects of this document. And the other one is also on subjects, members of ADER or members of the evaluation community. I have the same questions, and I see problems or challenges, let's say, with each one of the choices that we make.
Sometimes it's like really like in economy. I mean, demand and supply. I mean,
Yes.
Is there a demand for this code, for guide? Maybe there is a need. Maybe it's not. People are not aware that there should be a code. Then there is no demand. I mean, we also then if the need exists there, people are not aware of it. We need to make them aware and then create demand for the code or for the. I don't know. These are just my thoughts.
But the same is for psychologists. So, members of the faculty of psychology will make a code there, or the community of psychologists in Romania, or the world community of psychologists. It
Yes,
makes sense in all cases to.
For us, it's simple to say, well, we will write a code for our association because it's easier. We don't have to talk to everybody. We just talk between us. But then the document might be isolated, ignored, and by the evaluation community. And if we want to overcome this thing, we can write a code for all the members of the evaluation community. But then it might be rejected. People might say, who are you to develop a code for me? When did I say yes to that? So
you have to look a little bit at the similar history of psychology's code of ethics, because they are very, very advanced from this point of view, at the level of the world community of